this is my pet peeve. This is my biggest thing that I see with gurus. And as much as I made mistakes like earlier in my career with the things I recommended to people, one thing that I never did is if a person came to, and I used to do group coaching calls and one-on-one coaching calls, if a person came onto a call and they said to me, I did what you recommended and it didn't work, or I did what you recommended and it made it worse, I would never say, that's your fault. I would always be like interested to try and work out why and how can we help, you know? And it's the fact that I continue to maintain that interest, I think that eventually led to me finding this. I mean, to be honest, yeah, I mean, it was because of my own problems I had it as well. But I was always curious. I was always looking for new stuff, even before I had any issue myself that developed a few years ago, because of my clients who would show up and they'd say, I've done everything you recommended and it didn't work. And I took them at face value. I didn't question, are you lying? Are you, you know, I just, okay, that sucks. Let me ask more questions. Let me try and understand and let me try and work out what's going on here as to why it didn't work. So many gurus and experts and teachers, they have like at least a little bit of a narcissistic tendency. And when they come across that, when they're challenged on that, what they do is they say, it's your fault. You weren't doing it correctly. So if they're a vegan, they're saying, you know, you must have eaten some animal food, or, you know, you're not having enough of the green vegetables, you're eating too much fruit, or like something about you're not sticking to it enough. Or on the other side, if it's the carnivore, oh, well, you know, it's because you're having eggs and dairy. You should be just having just meat. You know, like they'll always push it to you're not doing the advice enough. I certainly not claim that I'm the only one who, you know, is more interested in working out what's actually going on in nuance. There are loads of good practitioners who are, just to be fair. But unfortunately, the people who tend to rise to the top and the ones who build huge audiences are often the people who tell you it's simple, because that's what people want to hear. So, you know, in the medical world, you have the just take this pill, and that's what people want to hear. And the people who give you the pill that make you feel better temporarily, that's the system that is popular. But in the alternative world, and then in that medical system, they usually say diet doesn't matter, or maybe it's a factor for being overweight and stuff, but they'll say, you know, diet has no impact on X disease, or doesn't have much of an impact on Y disease. But in our world, the alternative or natural health world, it's the complete opposite. And they go, you know, all drugs are bad, all medications are bad. A lot of them say, you know, all supplements are bad. And all you need to do is just stick to this diet. And it's the primal diet, or it's the this diet, or it's the that diet. And if you just do that, everything will be great. And of course, there's versions of this as well. There's, you know, you just got to do this herbal regime. You just got to do this fast. You just got to, you know, meditate with these crystals. I mean, whatever it might be. But it's this, you know, all the problems are caused by this X one simple thing, and all your problems are caused by this. And you just got to do this thing that I'm telling you. And if that works, I mean, that's great. And often it works. These people wouldn't build huge followings and audiences if it never worked. But I think there's two reasons why it works. Sometimes the person is accurate, right? Some people are better off following that advice, whatever it may be. And so, you know, if you give advice that is correct even 30% of the time, but you manage to give it to 3 million people, then 900,000 of them are going to be cured, right? They're going to be better, and they're going to go, great, awesome, that works. That's the best system ever. So that's one reason. And then the other reason is the placebo effect, right? Which is significant. And that's not to discount anything. The placebo effect is very powerful. We need to talk about that in an episode at some point. Placebo effect is not to say it's not real, but what I mean is that the person is healed through the power of the mind's action on, and I say mind in the broadest sense, you know, including feelings and visuals and everything, but the mind's action on the body, the gene expression of the body. We talked about gene expression in the last episode. Like, that's absolutely possible as well. I don't just believe that. There's a mountain of evidence to say it's possible. Every drug that ends up in the market, medical drug, has to go through double-blind, placebo-controlled trials before it's allowed. Why? Because there is a fundamental understanding that if you do not do that, then the person's belief that the drug will work will impact how much it works. So the very basis of a medical pharmaceutical establishment is based on the fact that the placebo effect is a real thing. So anyway, I could do more detail on that in another episode. But the point is, yeah, if you're told, just eating vegetables or just eat meat or whatever, and all your problems will go away, often it does work for a while because people really believe it does, and they're spending time on real life or, usually on online forums or whatever, talking to other people who say it's working for them, may well be telling the truth. And so but then it doesn't work for that long. That's the thing, right? The placebo effect is interesting. It's very powerful, but it often isn't long lasting. So it might last a few months, maybe if it's really powerful, a year or two, but it's not going to last for 5 years or 10 years usually. Like whatever problem you had that you thought was cured because of this thing that actually is just a placebo will tend to come back if it is the placebo effect. So that's one of the ways you can differentiate between placebo effect and not in practice, in my experience. So that is why I don't love it. So that's why I think a lot of the time when people give this very simplistic, just do this diet or just do this herb or whatever, and you'll be better, does work. But what about all the people it doesn't work for? And as I said, in my experience, that it's usually half the people or more. And so generally then they get faced with a strategy, and this is not necessarily from the guru. This could be from the guru's followers. This could be, encoded into their work, right? Like throughout the guru's book or course, there might be like messaging that if it doesn't work for you, you must be doing it wrong. There's this thing called gaslighting, which is a term that has come into modern culture like recently over the last few years. And so this is if it's not working for you, first of all, they say, yes, it is. No, it is working for you. And then okay then. And then it's like, well, okay, it's not working yet, but it will soon. Stick with it, right? And then that obviously can keep you going for a while longer. But if you eventually are like, no, it's not working, you can't persuade me it is, and no, I'm not going to keep doing it when it's not working, then you get to, well, it's your fault. You've been doing it wrong. Some people jump straight to that, but more commonly that's like, the second or third thing that you hear. But you will end up hearing it if you're like, hey, look, I've really tried this. I've given it a good go. It's not working. You'll hear, well, you must have been doing it wrong. Like they cannot imagine that the advice that they've given that has worked for so many people, right? Sometimes these are very well-meaning people. I've got millions of followers who say it works for them. So you must be the problem, right? That's what they say. That may even be what they believe. But of course, what does that do to you as the recipient of that message? If you take that on board and take it to heart, there's something fundamentally wrong with me. I'm flawed, or I'm lazy, I'm undisciplined, I'm stupid, I must have misunderstood. Like all of this negative self-esteem stuff can come up, and it's really not great. And now, that's not great even if everything they said to you is accurate and true. But if what they're saying is a lie, intentional or not, it's really toxic to tell you it's your fault when in fact you've been doing nothing wrong. And I guess maybe that's the reason I used the example I did earlier about the person who had stomach ulcers because they were eating a healthy diet by almost everyone's standards. And then as soon as they stopped eating the healthy diet and ate a diet that looked less healthy but was better for them, it went away and hasn't come back. So that's why I think it's really important to understand this distinction and not get caught up in simplistic, just do this one thing and it will work for everyone thinking. And that's why it's so important to me to bring this to the world. Hey, I hope you enjoyed that clip from the Rejuvenate podcast. If you want to watch the full episode that came from, just click on the link above. Or if you just want to watch our latest video, then click the link below. And make sure that you subscribe to the channel and like the video. Thank you.